Modern flight controls have come a long way since the early days when aviation pioneers would flare their legs and body weight around to control their flying machines.
Hey, watch this.
It took brave aviation pioneers like Otto Lilienthal to inspire and lay some groundwork for people like the Wright brothers, who came up with a new way of controlling aircraft, wing warping, and the added feature of being able to sit inside the airplane while flying it. Now we've progressed on from warping wings to using control cables and pulleys to move flight controls. And even more technologically advanced, fly-by-wire, which this airplane, Cessna 152, does not have. But what it does have is basic flight controls. We have primary flight controls and secondary flight controls. And no matter the type of flight control system, every airplane has primary and secondary flight controls. The primary flight controls consist of aileron, elevator, and rudder. These control surfaces are used to operate the aircraft safely. Sometimes primary flight controls have to be used in conjunction with one another, such as aileron and rudder. In this example, the airplane is making a left-hand turn, which would require a little bit of left rudder also. Or here, a right-hand turn, a little bit of right rudder. And that happens because the downward deflected aileron creates more drag than the upward deflected aileron. And when the yoke is moved to the left in this case, the top of the yokes are going to point towards the upward deflected aileron. There the yokes go to the left aileron is up. And as the yoke is turned to the right aileron goes up and the left aileron goes down. And another primary flight control, the elevator. When we pull back on the yoke, the elevator moves up, forces the tail to go down, and the nose goes up. Push forward like this to go down. Next, we have secondary flight controls, which help improve flight characteristics of the airplane. And one example of those is flaps, as you can see here on the back of a Cessna 172. And these are slotted flaps, which are a little bit more efficient than other types of flaps. We also have a split flap, which has a lot more drag than the previous type of flap. They create a lot more drag than they do lift. Next, we have a Fowler flap. This actually increases the area of the wing because you can see the flap protruding back past the trailing edge. And these are just three basic types of flaps. There's plain flap, split flap, slotted flap, Fowler flap, and slotted Fowler flaps, just to name a few. Another type of secondary flight control is a leading edge device. And an example of a leading edge device are Kruger flaps. They basically help create smooth airflow over the wing at high angles of attack. And another secondary flight device that's used some of the time is spoilers. You can see it coming up there. And these help the aircraft slow down by increasing drag and reducing lift. And on larger aircraft, spoilers can even be used in conjunction with primary flight controls, such as ailerons, to help the airplane turn. And back to primary flight controls, we have different types of elevators. This one is a stabilator. The whole tail moves. It has an anti-servo tab in the back, which is used to prevent the pilot from over-controlling the aircraft by the upward moving tab creating more pressure on the yoke. And here we have a horizontal stabilizer with an elevator. And this is obviously a primary flight control, but you can see the trim tab moving up and down, which is a secondary flight control. And you can see that tab moving up, which actually creates nose down trim. And when the tab goes down, that's actually nose up trim. And there you have it, primary and secondary flight controls in a nutshell. If you're new to aviation and want to learn everything from basics to advanced and everything in between, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Did you see that? I wonder what kind of flight controls that thing had on it.